The small ball of white fur was dying. Elena Frost knew it the moment she saw the polar bear cub staggering alone through the frozen vastness of the Arctic. 3 months old, maybe less. No mother. No protection. No chance whatsoever of surviving that night, when the temperature would plunge to 40 degrees below zero. Elena worked as a marine biologist at the most isolated research station on the planet, where the ice met the ocean and the silence was broken only by the cutting wind. That October morning, she was making routine observations when she spotted the cub. The little bear was shaking violently, its small dark eyes searching for something that no longer existed. That was when she saw the scene that would change everything. A lone emperor penguin, completely outside its natural migratory route, was walking across the ice just a few meters from the cub. Elena froze. Penguins were not supposed to be there. That species lived thousands of kilometers away, in Antarctica. How that animal had made it to the Arctic was a mystery she herself could not understand. The polar bear cub spotted the penguin, and something inexplicable happened. It began to follow it, emitting high-pitched calling sounds. Sounds that cubs make when they are searching for their mothers. The penguin stopped, turned around, and watched the little bear. Elena expected the bird to flee. After all, polar bears were natural predators of seals and other marine animals. But the penguin did not flee. Instead, it approached the cub and began to shield it from the wind with its own body. The bear nestled against the black and white feathers, seeking warmth. Elena was witnessing something that defied all of her scientific training. It made no sense at all. No sense whatsoever. She grabbed the radio with trembling hands and called the station team. Her voice faltered as she tried to describe what she was seeing. No one would believe her. But she had to document it, because what was happening before her eyes would change everything we knew about animal behavior. If you are enjoying this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Leave a comment telling us what you thought and which city or country you are watching from. The scientific team arrived in 15 minutes, but to Elena it felt like hours. Every second counted in that deadly cold. The station coordinator, Thomas Way, watched the scene through binoculars with an incredulous expression. Beside him, 3 other researchers did the same, all in absolute silence. The penguin had lain down on its side on the ice, creating a small shelter with its robust body. The bear cub, whom Elena had mentally decided to call Kai, was pressed against the bird's belly, protected from the devastating wind. The scene was beautiful and disturbing at the same time. Thomas broke the silence with a tense voice. They needed to intervene, follow protocol. Rescue the cub, feed it, warm it, and then contact the nearest rehabilitation center. It was the standard procedure. But Elena felt something tighten in her chest. What if separating those two caused more harm than help? The discussion that followed was heated. Half of the team argued for immediate intervention. The other half, including Elena, wanted to observe for a longer time. They were witnessing something rare, perhaps unique in history. Separating Kai and the penguin could destroy a bond that science did not yet understand. But there was another problem growing silently. The extreme cold was not the only danger in that environment. About 2 kilometers away, monitoring cameras had detected an adult male polar bear approaching. Adult bears often killed cubs that were not their own, especially males. It was natural behavior, brutal, but natural. And that specific male was known to the team. Aggressive, territorial, dangerous. Elena felt panic rise in her throat. Kai was completely vulnerable. The penguin, no matter how brave it was, had no way to defend the cub against a 400-kilogram bear. They needed to act fast, but any sudden movement could frighten the animals and make everything worse. Thomas made the decision. They would set up a nearby observation perimeter, with non-lethal deterrent equipment in case the adult bear came too close. Meanwhile, Elena would be responsible for monitoring Kai's and the penguin's behavior every hour. Document everything. Every movement, every interaction. No one knew that this decision would change all the lives present there. The first 24 hours were the hardest. Elena set up a permanent vigil, taking shifts with other members of the team. She wrote everything down in her field journal. Every time the penguin adjusted its position to protect Kai better. Every time the cub emitted those calling sounds and the bird responded with soft vocalizations. But what impressed Elena the most was something she had not expected to observe. The penguin was teaching Kai how to survive. During periods when the wind eased, the The bird would stand up and slowly walk across the ice. Kai followed it, stumbling on his own small paws. The penguin would stop, wait, and move on. It was teaching the cub how to move, how to conserve energy, how to seek shelter. Elena began to review all available scientific literature on interspecies behavior. She contacted specialists on 3 different continents. No one had an answer. Cases of adoption between species did exist, but they always involved domesticated animals or controlled situations. Never in the wild. Never between animals from completely opposite ecosystems. And there was another disturbing discovery that Elena kept secret. She had analyzed blood samples from the penguin during a careful approach. The results showed something impossible. That bird had hormonal levels compatible with active maternal behavior, as if its body were producing the same hormones that females produce when caring for offspring. But male penguins did not do that. And that one was definitely a male. While Elena processed this information, the adult bear continued to approach. More slowly now, but steadily. Thomas had positioned the team strategically, but everyone knew that if that predator decided to attack, they would have only seconds to react. On the 3rd night, something changed. Kai was stronger, moving with more confidence. The penguin remained by his side constantly, but now there was a pattern in their interactions. They had developed a routine. The cub slept pressed against the bird during the coldest hours, and when the weak sun appeared on the horizon, both explored the nearby area together. Elena realized she was no longer observing just a temporary rescue. She was witnessing the formation of a deep, genuine bond. Something that science needed to understand, but that it might never be able to fully explain. Her heart tightened with a mixture of joy and fear. The attack happened in the early hours of the 5th day. The adult bear emerged from the shadows with terrifying speed. Elena shouted into the radio, but she knew it was already too late for any human intervention. 400 kilograms of muscle and fury were charging straight toward Kai and the penguin. What happened in the following seconds defied everything Elena knew about animal behavior. The penguin did not flee. Instead, it positioned itself between the predator and Kai, spreading its flippers and inflating its body to appear larger. It emitted loud, aggressive sounds, completely different from the soft vocalizations it used with the cub. The adult bear stopped, confused. That small creature was challenging him. Kai, instead of running or hiding, stayed beside the penguin. The cub growled, a sharp, childish sound that under other circumstances would have been comical. But there was determination in that little bear. He was defending the one who had cared for him. The adult bear charged again. That was when Elena's team activated the deterrent devices. Bright lights, piercing noises. But what truly made the predator retreat was not the human equipment. It was what he saw. 2 completely different beings, united, refusing to separate even in the face of certain death. Elena watched with tears streaming down her face. That was not just instinct. It was choice. It was love. When the adult bear finally retreated and disappeared into the darkness, Elena ran out of the station. Thomas shouted for her to come back, but she could no longer stay away. She needed to see them up close, to confirm that both were all right. Kai was trembling, but not from the cold. It was adrenaline. The penguin wrapped him with its flippers, calming the cub with rhythmic movements. Elena stopped 3 meters away, knelt on the ice, and cried openly. That was when she understood the truth that would change her entire career. That penguin was not in the Arctic by accident. He was there because he needed to be. Just as Kai needed him. Nature had its own plans, its own rules. And sometimes, those rules included miracles that science would never be able to fully explain. The following months transformed the research station into something different. Elena and her team documented every stage of Kai's growth. The cub developed in a healthy way, gaining weight, learning to move across the ice with skill. And the penguin was always present, a silent and devoted guardian. But Elena knew that this arrangement could not last forever. Kai needed to learn how to be a true polar bear. He needed to hunt, interact with his own species, live the life that nature had planned for him. The pain of this reality tightened her chest every day. It was Thomas who suggested the solution. They would begin a gradual reintegration process. They would introduce Kai to other young bears in the region, allow him to explore more distant areas, always under monitoring. The penguin could accompany him at first, but little by little, the distance between them would increase naturally. The process took almost an entire year. There were days when Elena doubted whether they were doing the right thing. Kai always returned close to the penguin, even after spending days exploring alone. The bird waited patiently, as if it knew that this was the inevitable path. Until one spring morning, Kai simply did not return. Elena felt her heart tighten, but the tracking data showed that he was fine. Healthy, strong, finally living as an adult polar bear should live. He had found other bears, was learning to hunt seals, integrating into his natural world. The penguin remained in the station area for 3 more weeks. Elena fed him, observed him, talked to him as if he could understand. One afternoon, the bird looked directly at her, emitted a long gentle sound, and began to walk toward the ocean. Elena knew it was a farewell. She never saw that penguin again. But Kai appeared occasionally on the monitoring cameras, always healthy, always strong. A living symbol that love and family transcend species, logic, and even science itself. If this story touched your heart, subscribe to the channel and leave your like. Tell us in the comments where you are watching from and what you felt with this incredible story.